So you've got the Grammy, the Academy Award for Glory. We're going to come back to that. Emmys for your doc work, Golden Globes. You got the EGOG, right? So like we got to get you the Tony.
Yeah,
Is
we want that. We want that.
I
mean, people say, like, you know, they try to act like they don't want those awards. Yeah, I appreciate those awards. I want them.
Hi everyone, Mike Sievert here. Welcome to Sidekicks Conversations. Today, we are coming to you from New York City. And I am so excited to be joined by Grammy winner, Academy Award winner, Emmy and Golden Globe winning musician, actor, author, and social activist, and my friend, Common.
Hey, what's going on, Mike? Please, thank you, y'all.
So,
New York.
Welcome to Sidekicks, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's great to be here.
All right, I want to talk about everything you're up to and what's on your mind right now, but I just feel like we have got to start with the Common origin story. Can we take you way back?
Yes.
You're from Chicago. Tell us about who inspired you in music? How did you get started? Tell us about the origin story of Common Sense.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I started in Chicago, grew up in a predominantly black area where I learned a lot about being who I was as a human being. My mother was a teacher, and my stepfather was a plumber, and I just had this blue-collar lifestyle, and I was exposed to different parts of life, from art to just culture to sports, and I gravitated to sports and to music. And some of my inspiration when it came to music was Stevie Wonder, Chaka Khan, Minnie Riperton, Michael Jackson. You know, we talked about Michael Jackson. And at some point, hip hop came into my life, and I entered into music in a way where I could participate. And that was through hip hop. It was like, because I hadn't picked up an instrument, but I loved music. And my instrument became my writing, my vocals. And when I first said my first rap and my friends responded to it, I was like, wow, I really like this feeling, because, you know, they got excited about what I said, and I felt the joy of just expressing myself. So that was...
How do you convince yourself to stand up there the first time, you know, in front of people you know, and then later in front of people you don't know, and do that?
Art is a way to kind of find your courage. Art is a way of expressing yourself. Like certain things I've said in my music, I have never said out loud before, or even like taking in that this is how I feel. But when I'm expressing it through art, I feel free, I feel creative.
So how is it different for you with a studio album versus live? Your studio albums are gorgeous, they're beautifully produced. Every second, you know, you've thought through, I can tell.
Thank you.
And then when you face an audience, some amount of it is spontaneous. Like, what's that like? You know, how do you know the words are gonna come to you? Like, tell me about your process.
Yeah, after I do my preparation before going in front of an audience, like meaning my prayer, my meditation, my lighting of the Palo Santo, or whatever method I'm at that point in my life, when I get on that stage, I gotta be free. I gotta be okay with things going not perfect. I also, from practice and being able to perform and go through just being in the car with my friends, freestyling.
Yeah.
Mike, you seen, we freestyle.
All right, so we're at a party. Just so everybody knows, we were at a party, and Ryan Tedder's at the piano. And what you're saying about preparation's kind of bullshit, because I saw you were put on the spot. Ryan Tedder's at the piano playing Apologize, and you stepped up spontaneously, because a bunch of people goaded you to do it.
Yeah.
And did this incredible freestyle about the evening we were having.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, where do those words come from?
If I get in front of some people, I'm just gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
And the thing, people ask me about freestyling, I'm like, you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to mess up. It's fun in it too. You gotta enjoy these moments.
Yeah. All right, so you've conquered hip hop and, had these incredible studio albums that went nuts and tours and stuff. And then you weren't satisfied and you had to get into, let's see, like Broadway and acting and writing books. And like, what is that like as an artist to leap out of your original art form and start to perform in new ways?
It took me overcoming some of my own obstacles that I put up for myself. But I first had to find something that I really believed I could be great at. Because I tried different things before I went into acting. I was trying to play the piano, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be Ryan Tedder or Robert Glasper or Herbie Hancock, or, I'm not gonna be those dudes. But my first acting class, I was like, wow, I really love this, and I believe I have potential to be great at it. And I loved acting from when I was younger, so for me, it took some courage and it took some working for me to start to believe that I am an actor, but I was going to those classes, going to auditions and going to auditioning classes. And after a while, you start through the practice of work and experiencing things, you start to feel that confidence. It was a big difference from making music to acting, because you're not as a musician, I'm the creator it's on me to create and write the story and write what I want to put out in the world. As an actor, I join someone else's story and I have to be casted. First, I have to be even projected to maybe be in, get an audition sometimes. And it's so it's a lot of hills to climb to even get into the auditioning room, then to get into the film.
So you've got the Grammy. I said in my intro, the Academy Award for Glory, we're gonna come back to that. Emmys for your doc work, Golden Globes. You got the EGOG, right? So we gotta get you the Tony.
Yeah, we want that.
I think you're the only one from hip hop that has all those.
Yeah.
So, and nobody's got the Tony as well.
People say, they try to act like they don't want those awards. Yeah, I appreciate those awards. I want them. But I want to get it by doing the work and doing, really being pure to the art. And that's been the only way I've been able to get it. Is the Oscar came from the work we did with Glory. The Grammys came from music that I did with Kanye, with Erykah Badu, and just some of my music. And the Emmy came from work we did with Ava DuVernay. Those were things that I all cared about and was passionate about. So I figure, I'm just gonna keep putting my heart and soul into the work. And, God willing, the Tony will come and we'll be talking. I'm an EGOT.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of your work, some of your art is also activism. Yeah. And we have the 10th anniversary of Selma, for example. That was one of the most important films I think has ever been made. Glory is an unbelievable piece of art. It's one of my favorite songs. So what's that like? What's it like taking part in something that important, but also what's it like training your art as somebody who's already become very successful towards causes that you care about?
Selma was the first movie where I really felt, wow, this film is actually about what I'm about. It was about the women and men of the civil rights movement sacrificing their lives so that we could be free, so that we could be together, so that we could spread love to one another. And studying those women and men from that generation just was incredible inspiration. And being on the film set, seeing Ava DuVernay having, this was the first time I seen a black director of photography, a black person heading costume, a woman heading not just hair and makeup, but the lighting department. It was amazing. So it broke all the barriers I had seen in Hollywood for me, because it was revolutionary for me to see that diverse of a production. And along with that, we just was fired up for what the movie was. So when we were making it, I felt like it was something special brewing. When we finished, I couldn't get it off my mind. That's what made me reach out to John Legend and say, man, let's do a song for this movie. They didn't even ask us to do the song. They didn't say, hey, we want you and John Legend to do a song. I literally, and that comes from, just to me, the pursuit of things you really care about, and coming from hip hop also, it's you gotta go for it. You gotta go for it. So I just said, listen, John, let's write this song and we'll present it to him. And he was down, and we presented it, and it ended up being in the film and went on to do things that I couldn't have imagined. But it was all for the love of what we had for the movie, for the people who did what they did. And for me, being a part of things that has activism tones to it and is for social good, it always resonates.
I love
good
that
with me.
so much. And not all of your activism is through your art. Tell us about Common Ground. Tell us about some of the things that you've been involved in these last few years.
Well, yeah, so Common Ground's a foundation, a non-for-profit that we started in Chicago, mentoring young people and helping them just like basically in their lives, but it's bigger than Common Ground now. We formed something called Free to Dream, where we put together Common Ground, which is our youth organization, AIM, which is our Art in Motion, the school that we have based in Chicago, and also Imagine Justice is what we do with the incarcerated people, the work that we do for the criminal justice system to help change that. So we've put together Free to Dream, which is really an organization that we have now that's based on wellness, based on justice, based on jobs and education. These are 4 pillars that I really care about and I felt have changed my life and seen change so many lives. And now we've been able to put that together to make the Common Ground and all these other organizations I have more of a broader thing and bring more people to get involved in it. It's been powerful. We just been getting this started, but it's a beautiful thing.
Education's supposed to be the great leveler of our society.
Yes.
You know, but if people don't have access to it and access to great educators, or in our case, since we're a connections company, access to the internet and to the connections that fuel their lives, then they're gonna fall behind.
Yeah.
And that's what our Project 10 Million is all about. That's what a lot of your philanthropy is all about. Speaking of being involved with T-Mobile, you've done a number of things with us. You've been very gracious. What's that like working with T-Mobile? I know you don't do a lot of work with brands, so thank you for putting your faith in us. You were awesome in our Super Bowl commercial this year. Along with your now launched girlfriend Jennifer Hudson, you filmed it separate cuts back then at the Super Bowl. So tell us about that. Yeah.
Well, that was like when I got the call. When Panay called me and said, hey, you're gonna be a part of the T-Mobile Super Bowl commercial, I was over the moon, man. Because I've done a lot of things, but the Super Bowl is the most watched. And this Super Bowl was the most watched. So T-Mobile, I don't know, y'all do stuff that just brings joy, and I wanna bring joy to people. So that's one thing I gotta say with T-Mobile that I felt was really cool to be such a big brand. Creatively, you all allowed us a space where I felt like we were able to get something really beautiful out of the commercials and the spots, and just, it's cool. I was happy to show it to my friends. Well, I didn't even tell them I was gonna be in the Super Bowl commercial. We were watching the Super Bowl.
Is that right?
Yeah, and they were like, oh man, and Jennifer was there, and they was like, what, Jennifer in the commercial too? And one of my good friends said, that's some of your best work ever in the T-Mobile commercial.
She'd be either flattered or offended by
I know,
that.
that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. But it was cool though. It's such an honor to be a part of it because, for me, as you said, I don't do a lot of work with brands. It's got to be something that really feels organic and the right connection. But I will say that some people just recognize me from the T-Mobile spots. They not like, yo, that's Common. They like, yo, that's that dude from the T-Mobile commercial.
Tell me what you're up to lately. I mean, first of all, Silo is incredibly critically acclaimed on Apple TV+. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me about Breathe, the latest projects, and also you're back at it with music.
Yeah. So Silo, as you said, has been something I've been very, very inspired and grateful to be a part of. It's on Apple TV+, and this first season is out. A second season, I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm excited about it. It's really a great show. And Breathe just released us a film starring Jennifer Hudson that I'm a part of. It's like a sci-fi type of film, but I'm also very enthused about the new music. The new music, I finished an album with a legendary producer named Pete Rock. And Pete Rock is a classic producer from hip hop that has generated some of the best music of all time. And now we have an album coming out, and it'll be out in July. It's gonna be amazing, yeah. I'm
ready,
yeah,
I'm ready.
Thank you.
So now, in addition to all these things we've been talking about, we're a technology company. You're also interested in technology and AI and how AI is changing art. And you've actually gotten involved in it by backing Udio, which is AI and music.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Why did you decide to get interested in something like that?
For me, AI has to be used to benefit and to bring goodness to people. So I looked at it in a way where with Udio, we could allow people to be artists in their own way and like bring that joy of just feeling like they're artists just by expressing themselves with this AI technology. And I told you, expression to me has been always something that it brings healing, it brings inspiration, it brings joy. So of course I'm saying if we're gonna use this technology, I wanna use it in that way.
Well, talk about inspiration and joy. Your art brings those things to the world. You're an inspiration, man. Thank you, Common.
Thank you. Thank
Appreciate you. Thanks for coming to Sidekicks.
Thank you for having me at Sidekicks.
And that's it for Sidekicks for today, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Wonderful.